the Valley of Elah, a name that would echo through eternity. Imagine facing someone twice your size, someone who has never lost a battle, someone every trained soldier was too afraid to fight. Now imagine you're just a teenager, no armor, no sword, no military training, just a sling, 5 stones, and unshakable faith in God. This is the real story of David versus Goliath. His name was Goliath of Gath, and when he stepped onto that battlefield, the ground trembled. The Bible gives us his exact measurements in 1 Samuel 17. He stood 6 cubits and a span tall, over 9 feet high. His bronze helmet alone could crush a man. His coat of armor weighed 125 pounds, more than most soldiers could even carry. His bronze leg armor, his massive javelin, and his iron spear, with a tip that weighed 15 pounds on its own. This was not just a big man. This was a walking fortress, a weapon of war wrapped in human flesh. And every single morning, for 40 days straight, Goliath walked to the edge of the valley, raised his fist, and screamed the same challenge across the battlefield. Why do you come out and line up for battle? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects. 40 days, 80 challenges, morning and evening, and not one man answered. The valley fell silent every single time. On the other side of the valley stood the army of Israel, trained warriors, experienced fighters, men who had faced battles before. But when they saw Goliath, something happened to them that no enemy sword had ever accomplished. They froze. 1 Samuel 17:11 says it plainly. When Saul and all the Israelites heard this, they were dismayed and terrified. Dismayed, terrified. These were soldiers, men of war. And yet, for 40 days, not one of them could take a single step forward. Fear is a powerful prison, and Goliath had locked every single one of them inside it. Meanwhile, miles away from the battlefield, a teenage boy was doing his job. His name was David, the youngest son of a man named Jesse. 8 brothers total, and David was last. While his older brothers served in Saul's army, David's job was simple. Watch the sheep, keep them safe, bring them home. No glory, no fame, no recognition, just a boy, a staff, a hillside, and a flock of sheep. But God had been watching this boy for a long time, and what God saw in David, nobody else could see yet, because the hillside had taught David something the battlefield never could. One day, a lion came for his sheep. David didn't run. He grabbed the lion, struck it, killed it with his bare hands. Another day, a bear attacked the flock. Same result. David told King Saul later, "Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear." No audience, no witnesses, no reward. Just a boy and his God, alone on a hillside, learning how to be a giant killer long before he ever knew a giant existed. One day, Jesse called David in from the fields. "Take this bread and grain to your brothers at the battlefield. See how they are doing and bring back word." David left early the next morning, arrived at the camp, found his brothers, and then he heard it, the thundering voice of Goliath echoing across the valley, the same challenge, the same silence from the Israelite side. But this time, someone was listening who had never heard it before. And unlike everyone else, David didn't feel fear. He felt fire. Word reached King Saul that a young boy was asking questions, volunteering to fight. Saul summoned him immediately. And when David stood before the king, Saul saw what everyone else saw, a boy, young, small, inexperienced. "You cannot go out against this Philistine. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David looked the king in the eye and said, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul had no answer for that kind of faith. He said one word, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." Saul dressed David in royal armor, bronze helmet, coat of mail, a sword. David took it all off, not because he was careless, but because he knew exactly what he needed. He walked to a nearby stream, looked down into the clear water, and carefully, deliberately, chose 5 smooth stones. Why 5? Some say it was faith. Some say it was preparation. Goliath had 4 brothers. David was ready for all of them if necessary. He placed the stones in his shepherd's bag, picked up his sling, and stood up. It was time. When Goliath saw David walking toward him, he couldn't believe it. He looked David up and down. A boy, rosy cheeks, no armor, a wooden staff, and Goliath did something no giant should ever do. He laughed. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Come here and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." David's response silenced the entire valley. "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands." And then David ran, not away, toward, straight at the giant. David's hand reached into his bag. 1 stone. He placed it in the sling, began to swing, faster, faster. The entire battlefield held its breath. 2 armies, thousands of soldiers, every eye on 1 boy and 1 giant. David released. The stone cut through the air like lightning, and in that single moment, history changed forever. The stone struck Goliath directly in the forehead, the one place his armor didn't cover. The giant's eyes went blank. His massive body swayed. And then, like a great tree being cut down, Goliath of Gath crashed face down into the dirt. The ground shook. The valley went absolutely silent. 9 feet of unconquered terror, defeated by 1 teenage boy and 1 smooth stone. 1 Samuel 17:50 records it simply. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. No sword, no armor, no military training, just faith, and a God who never misses.
What happened next was an eruption. The Philistine army, who had stood undefeated for years, turned and ran. And the army of Israel, the same men who had been paralyzed by fear for 40 days, suddenly found their courage and chased them down. All because 1 boy refused to stay frozen. All because 1 teenager decided that the size of his God was bigger than the size of his giant. David stood over Goliath, looked up at heaven, and in that moment, a shepherd became a king. Here is the truth that this story demands we face. Every single person watching this has a Goliath. Maybe it's a diagnosis the doctors say is hopeless. Maybe it's debt that keeps piling up. Maybe it's a relationship that's been broken for years. Maybe it's a dream that everyone around you says is impossible. Your Goliath has been walking out every morning, taunting you, telling you that you're too small, too weak, too late. But David teaches us something that changes everything. Giants are not stopped by the biggest soldier. They are stopped by the person with the most faith. David ran toward his giant, not away. And God guided a single stone to the exact spot that ended it all. Your stone is already in your hand. Your giant already has a forehead. The question is, will you run toward it? The Valley of Elah teaches us that God doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. David was just a shepherd. But in God's hands, he became a giant slayer. And so can you. If this story moved you, subscribe to Faith Chronicles. Every week we go deep into the stories, mysteries and truths hidden in Scripture that will transform your faith. Pick up your stone. Your giant's time is up.